Vicky and I'm back with another reading vlog for you guys, and this time it's going to be another episode of my books and baking series that I've been doing this year on my channel. And this one is going to be a little bit different from the previous books and baking videos that I've done because this one I'm reading a book but it doesn't have recipes in it. Let me explain. I'm going to be cooking recipes out of the Castle Rock Kitchen, which is a Stephen King themed cookbook. So it says Wicked Good Recipes from the World of Stephen King. And sort of the way it works is every recipe, and there's all different sorts. There's, you know, breakfast, lunch, dinner, side dishes, desserts, drinks, all that good stuff. But each recipe is like tied to a specific Stephen King book in some way. So it's different because I'm going to be reading Holly, which is Stephen King's newest release. It just came out in September, but it doesn't have any recipes in the book. That would be very interesting if it did. I came across this idea because I had a subscriber or viewer mentioned this to me and I never even knew this existed. And so I thought it would be a fun sort of different way to do this series because I could kind of talk about Holly as I'm reading it, but also sort of talk about, as I'm cooking the recipes, if it's related to a Stephen King book or story that I have read, I can sort of talk about that. And it kind of opens up what I can do recipe-wise, because in the past, most of the recipes that I've done for this series have been baked goods, like cookies, pies, you know, that sort of thing. In this, I can cook like all different sorts of things. I did pick there's 4 or 5 recipes that I picked. I tried on purpose to do like a breakfast, a lunch, a dinner, and then some sort of baked good. So it's gonna vary. I'm not gonna cook them in order because I kind of have to base what I'm cooking kind of based around just like my life. And so I'm not starting with breakfast. I'm actually starting with dinner. The first recipe I'm hopefully going to actually cook tonight for dinner. And I'll get into it when I get, when I get cooking. So yeah, that's like the plan. Is I thought that it would be fun time this time of year to read a Stephen King book, cook Stephen King themed recipes. Why not do that around Halloween time? I just thought that'd be fun. So this is what we're dealing with in this vlog. Holly, Castle Rock Kitchen. For those of you that don't know what Holly is about, just to give you like a quick overview, Holly is a recurring character in some of Stephen King's books. She was in the Bill Hodges trilogy, and then she was in one of the novellas that was in If It Bleeds, which came out a couple years ago, and now she has her own book. It definitely seems that Stephen King has really latched onto this character and doesn't want to let her go, and he wanted to give her her own book. And basically she's a private detective who takes on a case, it sounds like. That's what this book deals with. It's about a case that she takes on, and that's all I really know. So I don't know if this is gonna have anything super, sorry, my dog, can you hear her? She's barking in her sleep. So cute. I don't think this one is gonna have any supernatural stuff, but it might, because some of the stuff that, oh, I forgot, she was also in The Outsider, which did have a supernatural slant to it. So I don't know if this will have supernatural or if it's just a straight up like detective mystery sort of thing. So I guess we'll find out together. So yeah, I'm gonna get started on this. She must be having a really good dream. And then when I get to the first recipe, when I start cooking later, I will give you my initial thoughts on the book and we'll talk about the recipe. poor my lighting is in my bedroom, but I wanted to give my first update. First of all, on the first recipe that I made from the Castle Rock kitchen. I decided to do a fish and chips type recipe. I didn't do the fry part, the French fries, because we had like leftover potatoes from last night's dinner that I wanted to kind of use up, and they worked fine to have with fish. But I wanted to do a seafood recipe because there was a whole section of the cookbook that dealt with seafood. And seafood is, I think, commonly, cooked, ate, whatnot, on the East Coast, in Maine, where Stephen King is from. I know there were a lot of lobster recipes in the cookbook, and I just am not a fan of lobster. So I decided to do fish and chips because I know, I like cod. And I've never actually fried my own fish before, so it was kind of an adventure. I'm pretty sure I overcooked it. The outer part was definitely dark brown, not golden brown. I think the batter tasted fine. I liked that the batter you used had, the name escapes me at the moment, but it's a type of flour that you use to make like tortillas and stuff. I thought that was kind of interesting. So the batter itself was fine, and I think the fish turned out fine. It's just, I think I slightly overcooked it, and it was kind of scary having to fry fish at home. I actually had to I was listening to Holly, and I had to stop it because I was not paying attention to the audiobook because I was so focused on not burning myself or, lighting my kitchen on fire, because it was just this big pan of just hot oil, and it made me a little nervous. So all in all, I think it turned out fine. The fish, it cooks up really quick. So yeah, I think it was fine. We had coleslaw with it because I feel like every time I go out to eat and get fish and chips, I always get a little thing of coleslaw. So we had some coleslaw. So all in all, I think it was fine. I think next time I would, I don't know, maybe try to lessen how much time the fish was in the oil, so that the batter wasn't quite so overcooked, but otherwise it was good. And that recipe was from The Colorado Kid, which is a Stephen King, I don't know if that's considered a novella or a novel, because it's not very long. I did read it actually a couple years ago, and I can't remember what I gave it. I want to say it was probably a 3-star. It was one of those books that, if I remember right, it leaves you with a lot of questions that don't really get answered. And if I remember right, it's about 2 guys that are telling this young girl a story or something, if I remember. So it was good, but I remember a lot of people that was their gripe, was that the mystery isn't really solved. I don't know if that's spoilery or not, but it isn't really solved. And speaking of spoilers, if you haven't read the Bill Hodges trilogy, or The Outsider, I don't know if you want to read Holly just yet, because I'm about 50 pages in, and she does mention those cases, and some of the things she says in reference to are spoilers and could ruin things for you. So if you're planning on reading the Bill Hodges trilogy or The Outsider, or even if it bleeds, anything that Holly Gibney was in, I would say maybe don't read this until you've read those, just in case. And I have some thoughts about this. 50 pages in. The first one being, I really love the audiobook. I don't have my phone nearby to check who the narrator is, but she's just doing a great job. I really like her voice, and I feel like it suits Holly's personality. And when you meet Holly in this book, she has just finished her mother's funeral. Her mother passed away from COVID. So this is a book that talks a lot about COVID. It takes place in 2021. So it was kind of in the height of the pandemic, right? That was when everybody was still masking up or not. The whole mask debate was a thing. The vaccine debate was a thing. The 2020 election and the aftermath was a thing, and that's all in here. So if you are not the type of reader who wants to read a book that has or deals with current events like the COVID pandemic, the 2020 election, you probably won't like this. So far, I don't mind it, though it is a little weird. I have not yet read a book that deals with COVID, like, you know, a fictional book that has COVID in it. So it's a little weird because, you know, it's something that we lived through and everything, but I don't fault Stephen King for writing about it because it was obviously such a huge part of, you know, the last couple of years. And, you know, I'm sure in future years, you know, 20, 30 years from now, when people read this, they will get a sense of what living through the pandemic was like. So I get it. I get it. But it's just weird to me to read a book that has COVID in it. So it's interesting. I don't hate it so far. I am going to hopefully keep reading and check in with you guys tomorrow with more thoughts on this and a new recipe. So I thought I would do a little check-in from my kitchen to talk a little bit about the recipe I just did, which was the mulligatawny soup. It was this really awesome recipe that, to be honest with you, I have already made once before. When I first got the cookbook, I tried that recipe because it sounded amazing, and it's so good. So I knew when I was doing this vlog, I'm like, I have to make that soup again. So I made it for Austin and I for lunch yesterday because the kids don't really care for it. And it's so good. It has curry and veggies and a little bit of coconut milk, red lentils, and then top it with cilantro. I am such a cilantro fan. Anytime I can put cilantro on stuff and it like enhances the meal, I am totally in. So that was an amazing recipe. It's already gone. We ate it for lunch, and then Austin ate the rest of it later. So we have none left. It was so delicious. And that recipe was for insomnia, or like tied to insomnia. And it's funny because I read insomnia, so I don't know if like somewhere in the book it mentions a soup like that or something. I have no idea. I don't remember. I read that book such a long time ago. It's actually one of the Stephen King books that I want to reread, because when I read it, it's about an old man who he starts to have like premature waking, where he's like waking up earlier and earlier and earlier until eventually like he just doesn't go to sleep at all. And I read it so long ago, before I read the Dark Tower series, and Insomnia has a pretty cool Dark Tower tie-in that I think at the time when I read it, because I hadn't read the Dark Tower, I sort of missed the connection. So now that I've read the Dark Tower series, I want to go back and read that one. And I do remember liking it regardless, even without having that like knowledge of that Easter egg that was in there. or that connection. I still enjoyed the book, so I would definitely consider rereading it. So yeah, that was the, and I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but that's how I'm pronouncing it, mulligatawny. Today, I am making bread. I'm making farmhouse egg bread, like from scratch. And I wanted to do this recipe because I have never made bread before, like on my own, you know, just like with the yeast and everything and letting it rise and all that stuff. I've never done it, so I thought it would be a nice recipe to do. And I think the recipe makes 2 loaves. So 1 loaf I'm gonna just kind of leave plain on top, and then the other one I think I might put everything seasoning on the top of it because I love everything seasoning. And what one is, let me see. This recipe is from The Man in the Black Suit, which if I remember correctly is from one of his short story collections. I feel like I have read that. Like the name seems familiar, but other than that, I got nothing. Sorry, I got nothing for that one. So yeah, this is like a little bit time consuming because, you know, you have to like make the dough, let it sit and rise, and then, you know, and then of course like it has to bake, and then it's got to cool. It's a process. So luckily I don't have anything going on throughout like the morning and stuff, so I can get this bread made. And then as far as holly goes, where am I in holly? I'm on page 174, so I'm almost to the halfway point. And let's see, what are my thoughts on this? There was something that I wasn't sure if I should mention, but I'm going to, because I wasn't sure if it was too spoilery, but I don't think it is. But it's something I just want people to be aware of if you're reading the book, because I know some people don't like this tactic when you're dealing with a like a detective murder mystery, not murder mystery, because it's not a murder mystery, it's a missing persons mystery, right? When you're dealing with a detective mystery, and in this case, you know from pretty much like the first chapter or so who the bad guys are. He tells you right away who they are. And so throughout the story, the present day story where Holly is looking for this missing woman, you are also seeing the bad guys. There are 2. You meet them like 10 years in the past, and then sprinkled throughout the present day story, their story kind of is moving forward and eventually meets up with the present day. So just to kind of give you, and I think, you know, he did that to give you an idea of who they are and what they've been doing, and that this is something they've been doing for a long time. And so I know some people don't like that, because so this story is not like a who did it, who abducted this woman. You kind of know because you meet them super early in the book. So this is more of a why book. Why do they do this? Why do they choose who they choose? What exactly happened, right? Because you already know the who. So I know some people don't like that. Sometimes it works for me, and sometimes it doesn't. So far, it's working for me with this story, because the bad guys are pretty unconventional. And he's sort of sprinkling in specific details about why they do what they do. And it's pretty dark. It's pretty dark and twisted and like, ugh, eh. So I don't hate it, I like it. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep listening and figure out more of the why of this story. She has risen. Yay. So my dough rose. I'm so excited. I think it's like magical how bread does that. So I have to get the pans ready, which I don't know if it's gonna matter that one pan's metal and one pan's glass, but that's all I got. So that's what we're going with. So I gotta like generously butter these pans. The only thing is though, right now in the instructions, it's telling me to preheat my oven, but then I have to divide the dough, do some stuff, and then it's gotta sit for another 45 minutes. It's been sitting for an hour, rising, and it's gotta do that again for 45 minutes. So I'm like, why would I preheat my oven right now? That doesn't make sense to me. So I'm not doing that. And yeah, I am gonna butter these pans and generously, and see what I got going on here. I was very unsure if the pans or if the bread was actually gonna rise, because I don't know, I've never done this before, so I wasn't sure how it was gonna turn out. Look at her, she is so risen. Okay, so I have to lightly flour a work surface, knead several times to degas the bread. Okay. And then divide it into 2 equal pieces. Okay, then it starts to get sort of complicated, the whole making it into a loaf part. I'm generously flouring my area. I should really reposition this camera so you can see what I'm doing. All right, it's cutting my head off, but that's the best we can do. But at least now you can like see what I'm doing. So, okay, so I have to transfer this dough to a lightly floured work surface and knead several times to degas completely. Okay, so how do I get it? Oh my God. It seems very sticky still. How do I get it out? Oh my Lord. Oh my God, this is so weird. Oh, it's so sticky. I hate it. Oh, I hate it. Okay, so I'm gonna knead this even though, oh my, it's sticking so bad. Is it supposed to be this sticky? Oh no. I mean, I don't know, guys. I'm no bread expert, but I don't know if this is correct. I don't know if this is good. But what do I have to do after this step? Divide the dough into 2 equal pieces. Press each piece into a rectangle measuring 5 by 8 inches. Starting on the shorter ends, roll up the dough using your thumbs to pinch this. I'm already lost. I'm like, I don't even know if this is gonna do that because it's very sticky. I don't know, guys. I don't think this is right, but I'm gonna do my best. So I gotta divide it into 2. Okay, we're dividing the best we can. This is what we got. Press each piece into a rectangle that's 5 by 8 inches. Oh, okay. Using your thumbs, pinch this, wait, where, I lost my spot. The shorter ends, roll up the dough. There is no rolling this. It is not rolling. That is absolutely not happening. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna throw this in the pan. I think I messed it up. So I'm grabbing this guy. I feel like this is not how bread dough is supposed to be. I think it's too sticky and too wet, but you know what? I'm gonna bake it anyway, and that's it. There's like all this like detailed instruction on how to roll this up and put it into the pan, and I can't do it because it's too sticky. Like rocking the loaves on the work surface and like all this stuff, we're just not doing that. Oh, this should be interesting. You know what? As long as it tastes good in the end, this might not matter. This might not matter. I just wonder though, what did I do wrong? Any bread makers out there? Can you, maybe when I initially mixed it, it was too wet, but it said it was supposed to be sticky and kind of like stringy. So I thought it was good. Hold on, I gotta clean my hands. So, hi, I have to keep dipping down. So we're gonna pretend like I did everything right with this dough. And now it says I have to loosely cover the pans with plastic wrap and let it rise again until it's doubled in size and has created the tops of and has crusted the tops of the pans about 45 minutes. So I'm gonna do that and we'll see how they look in 45 minutes. All right, so it has risen again. It's still really, really sticky and messy, so I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but I'm gonna bake them anyway. So I have to put an egg wash on the tops, and then, oh Jesus. Oh, this is not looking promising. And like I think I said before I started this whole thing, I'm gonna put everything seasoning on one of them just because I really like that stuff. So yeah, I really don't know if these are gonna turn out. But I'm trying to be optimistic. It's gonna be okay. So into the oven they go. So on an instant like thermometer, they're supposed to be 190. So mine are, they are done. And I have to immediately get them out of the pan and put them on a cooling rack. I will say it looks like bread. It smells really good, especially the everything seasoning that I put on this loaf. It smells really good. So they have to cool for an hour before I can try it. So I'll see you in an hour. All right, it's time for a taste test. I'm gonna go with the one where I put the everything seasoning on it just because it just sounds awesome. Unfortunately, when I tried to get it out of the pan, the whole like bottom of the bread stuck to the pan. So this bread doesn't have a bottom crust, but I don't think that's gonna matter. So let's just give it a taste. Wow, it's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I was worried because my dough seemed off. Like it seemed like it wasn't like it was supposed to be, but this tastes really good. This is really good bread. The crust, like it's crusty enough on the outside, but the inside it's like really soft and fluffy. I just put a little bit of butter on it, but I could see using this for like sandwich bread or even like to have with like soup, like to dunk your soup in. This is good. This is good. This is a win. I just took a bite with the everything seasoning. That was a great idea. That was a great idea. Go me. Been a couple of days, but I have finished Holly. We also completed the final recipe for this vlog. We did I can't remember what it was called, but it was basically like a milkshake, a chocolate milkshake. Super easy, super yummy. My kids loved it. It was good. I had meant to do a breakfast recipe also, but I ran out of time and the day that I was going to make the breakfast, it turned out I didn't have any eggs, which were crucial to the recipe. So it just didn't work out. So I didn't get to do the 5th recipe I'd wanted to do, but it's all good. So if I had to rank the recipes that I did do, I would definitely say my favorite was the mulligatawny, the soup. It was such a good recipe. One that I will definitely make again. And then I would say after that was probably the chocolate milkshake, just for like ease of making. It's like you literally need a blender, some chocolate ice cream, some milk, some chocolate syrup. And then you can also add like espresso or something to it if you wanted like a kick. Which I didn't do because I was giving it to my kids and that's the last thing they need. And yeah, it was just a really quick, tasty snack to have or dessert to have. And then I would say the bread. The bread turned out amazing, but the process was a lot and it was not the funnest, I have to say. Big props to like our ancestors who made bread, like had to make bread like that regularly because it's a lot to do, but it did turn out really good. It was very tasty. My house smelled amazing. There's nothing that beats the smell of like baking bread. Ugh. But in terms of ease, it was not the best. And then the one I would probably never do again is the fish. As much as I love fish and chips, like when I'm out and about, making it at home was scary. It was kind of messy. My stovetop was covered in oil just from the splattering. My house smelled like fried fish for like 2 or 3 days. I feel like I could not get rid of the smell. So overall, that is one that I will save, I think, and have that meal when I'm out at a restaurant because it was too much to make at home. And overall, I think the cookbook is great. It's one that I would definitely continue to use in my house. It's a fun little sort of addition that it is Stephen King themed. And yeah, so let's now talk about Holly. I did complete it and I ended up giving this 4 stars, which Stephen King's latest books, I feel like, have been kind of yay or nay with me. I believe Fairy Tale was a 4-star from me also. But then there's been some of his recent books that were just okay. And this one actually I'm pleasantly surprised by. I went into it with low expectations because I believe I've said this before. Holly is a character that like I'm fine with. She's not a character that, oh my gosh, I love. She's one of my favorite Stephen King characters. She's definitely not that. So I went in kind of with those expectations that like, she's just this, private investigator or whatever. And I actually enjoyed her quite a bit in this book. And I think in previous books, maybe part of the reason, especially in the Bill Hodges trilogy, I think part of the reason that she like didn't wow me or grab me as a character, it might honestly have been the audiobook narration because I listened to all 3 of those books on audio, and the way that the narrator did Holly's voice and like her cadence of speech and stuff, I was just like, I don't know, it just didn't like jive with me. This narrator was fantastic. Loved her. And I think it made me love Holly more as a character. And then as far as like the case goes, the mystery that she was trying to solve was also pretty good. Even though you knew who the bad guys were at pretty much the very beginning of the book, it was really interesting to see Holly's process of finding, because I mean, she solves the mystery. I don't think that's spoilery to say, but seeing her process, how she came to find out who they were, what they were doing, why, and all of that was cool. It was fun. Even though you knew who the person or people were, I felt like it was still a fun ride. And then I also don't think it's spoilery to say, in case anyone is wondering, this book does not have any supernatural stuff in it. And I know there are other books that Holly has been in that do have a supernatural slant. And this one is not one of them. This is a straightforward, real life, detective mystery, where she's trying to find a missing woman and she's just using her, her available resources, talking to people, investigating, and there's nothing supernatural about it. There's nothing supernatural about the bad guys, other than that they are incredibly evil human beings, which is, a reality in this world. So overall, yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by this, and even though I went into it kind of like, I'm just gonna read it because it's Stephen King's newest book, I actually really enjoyed it. So I think if you are a person that likes, detective mysteries, where it focuses on like one person, one investigator or whatever, I think that you would like this. If you are into Stephen King, but you maybe, or maybe you've never tried Stephen King and you want to give him a try, but you're not sure about more of his like far out supernatural stuff, this is a good one, I feel like, because like I said, it's very based in reality. And yeah, overall it was good. I liked it. All right, so that is gonna wrap things up for this vlog. Thanks for coming along with me on another episode of Books and Baking, or maybe in this case, Books and Cooking / Baking, because there was a little bit of both going on. Please let me know down below if you have any suggestions for this series, because I would love to hear them. The last 2 episodes of this series that I've done, I did because of suggestions from you guys. So if you have any more, I would love to know, because this is a really fun series to do and I want to keep doing it. So I would love to hear your suggestions. But other than that, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog and I hope you're having a great week, and I will talk with you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.